Hey guys, and welcome back to round 8 of the 1994 season as part of my CustomF1 series on F1 Challenge 99-02. You join me on board in qualifying at the German Grand Prix, the Streamline Engineering car, which is my own created team for the season, and we're driving as Salo. It's the old Hockenheimring, the old layout before they changed it in. Was it 2001? 2000? I can't quite remember the year. I think it was 2001 that they changed it. No, 2002 it would have been. And yeah, I quite like the old layout, to be fair. We're on my outlap in qualifying right now. The old layout was notorious for causing engine failures. But before we get onto the qualifying lap, first we have the news.
Welcome back to a brand new edition of CustomF1 Weekly. The big news this week is that the FIA are restructuring the feeder series leading up to Formula 1, with the introduction of a global Formula 2 and Formula 3 programme, which follows along with a set amount of the Formula 1 season from 1995 onwards. Continental Formula 3 and a select few national Formula 4 series will continue to run. In Formula 1, Michael Schumacher scored an impressive victory last time out at Silverstone, crossing the line with his engine smoking. How crucial will those 10 points be to the German come the end of the season? That's all from me, until next week.
And here we are on the qualifying lap. We had that upgrade for last race, but sadly the race did not go to plan. Both Streamline Engineering cars retiring, and that's my first retirement since I believe the third race of the season. I was on a good string of results. I think I finished 16th, 12th and 11th in consecutive races. Of course, me saying I'm racing is Salo. I'm racing as Salo. I've got a question for you guys though. Do you think we should switch to controlling Kaya Mahendra for the remainder of the season? So that would mean that the first half of the season we are Salo, the second half of the season we could be Kaya Mahendra. If that's something you're interested in, let me know. I'll put a vote on my Discord. You guys can vote on that. Or maybe I'll just make a decision. I'm not too sure yet. But here we are on the qualifying lap. Down those long straights. This old layout is basically a long straight, a chicane, a long straight, a chicane, a long straight, a chicane, a long straight, and then you're into the final sector of the track. We're into that last chicane before the long straight, which leads into that final sector. The final sector is pretty much unchanged. Like even in today's track, the Hockenheimring now, it's still pretty much the same as it was back then. Maybe some corners slightly different, the curbs slightly different, but the stadium section, which is the third sector, which we're in now, is basically the same. It's a lovely sector to drive as well. I love this corner. It's notorious for causing lots of brake failures over the years, and I'm no stranger to brake failures, as you all know if you've been watching my F1 Challenge videos for any length of time. But here we are rounding the final corner. John Alesi on provisional pole for Ferrari right now. We're not going to topple that, of course we're not. But we're going to cross the line and set a 150.382. It's 16th place right now, but where are we on the starting grid? And here are the qualifying results. Look at that. John Alesi on pole position for Ferrari. Ayrton Senna in second, actually splitting the Ferraris. Nicola Larini in third place. Then the second Williams with Damon Hill in fourth. The two Benettons, Michael Schumacher and Jos Verstappen, on the third row of the grid, 5th and 6th place. And surprisingly, the Lotus of Alessandro Zanardi up in 7th place, followed by the Tyrrell of Katayama, the two McLarens on the 5th row of the grid, Hakkinen ahead of Brundle. And then we have the second Lotus, Philippe Adams, in 11th. The Ligiers are 12th and 14th, with Blundell in the second Tyrrell sandwiched between them. Onto the second half of the grid, the Sauber of Heinz-Harald Frentzen at his home Grand Prix starts from 15th. Then we have the two Jordans and the two Footworks. Salo, another impressive qualifying performance. He starts in 20th place, ahead of Michele Alboreto. Then the second Sauber of Andrea de Cesaris, the second Minardi of Pierluigi Martini. The two LaRouche drivers, Beretta 24th and Comas 26th, with Roland Ratzenberger in the lead Simtek sandwiched between in 25th place. Kaya Mahendra starting all the way down in 27th. He never goes well in qualifying. And David Brabham in the Simtek rounds out the grid in 28th place. So here we are at the Hockenheimring in Germany. It's a 6.823 kilometre circuit, very long in length at least. But the time for the actual race will be quite short, as of course the race is managed by distance covered, so it's just over 300 kilometres in total. We only have 45 laps today, and it is wet conditions to start the race. It's supposed to dry out, and our two drivers going on split strategies. Salo pitting lap 15 and lap 30, and Kaya Mahendra on a one stop from the back of the grid, He's pitting lap 18 and then going all the way to the end on lap 45. Well, there's only one more thing to do, and that's go racing. The 1994 German Grand Prix is next. And here we are on the starting grid. There's 4 lights, there's 5. The 1994 German Grand Prix is underway in, well, it looks like torrential rain on the floor. No rain actually falling, but the track is extremely wet. I have absolutely no grip off the start. I'm tumbling down the order, down to 25th already, but as we go into the first corner, we go back up the inside of a couple of drivers. There's the LaRousse there of, I believe, Eric Comas diving up the inside of about 4 or 5 drivers into turn 1. And we've lost 4 positions around the first corner. We're down to 24th place, and as you can already see, I've gone completely the wrong way with the setup. It was okay in qualifying, but I've got no straight line speed. I thought I was okay. I was reaching 305 kilometers an hour in qualifying, but in these conditions in the rain, it seems like the engine power isn't quite there. We got the inside of the Cesaris into the braking zone for that first chicane. And then we run wide. We're going to lose that position, are we? No, we just managed to hold on, kind of blocking the drivers behind. We've got absolutely no grip. We are on the wet tyres, not the monsoon tyres, and it should dry up at some point, but I think the temperature is quite low, so that drying process might take an extended period of time. This car is incredibly difficult to control in these conditions. I'll warn you now, there's definitely going to be mistakes in this race, and the first one is right here on the opening lap. We lose the back end. We managed to save it, kind of Max Verstappen-esque 2016 Brazil style. We do lose all the positions, and we're down to the last place, 28th place. David Brabham ahead now, who's moved up 1 position, but it's not the ideal start for Mika Salo. And as we close out the opening lap, we're going to make another mistake. I lose the back end into turn, I believe it's turn 12. I don't really know what number, but we don't actually get any damage. We only lose about 3 seconds. But we just got to make sure to just calm down. We need to get to the finish. That's the most important part. This is the start of the race from the leader's perspective. John Alesi from pole position gets a decent start into the first corner. I need to point out though, there's a graphical bug. They're all on soft tyres for some reason. They're not actually on soft tyres, they're on wet tyres. And the spray is ridiculous in the replay mode for some reason as well. Even later on in the race when it starts to dry up, there's still this much spray. Very, very confusing. If anybody knows how to fix that, please let me know. But Alesi leads as they finish the first sector. Ayrton Senna all over the back of him, and look at that. I think that Michael Schumacher making contact there with Nicola Larini. Larini managed to hold it on to 3rd place at the start of the race, and Michael Schumacher's jumped above Damon Hill. Martin Brundle on the opening lap of the race gets hit from behind. The Ligier of Eric Bernard goes straight into the back of Brundle, knocking off Brundle's rear wing, and of course, you know what that means. That means he's going to have to retire from this race. Lap 2, and Senna's looking for a way through on the race leader John Alesi, and he makes it through. As we go through the stadium section to complete lap 2, Ayrton Senna is into the lead of the race. Lap 6, and well, Senna's into the pits. I think he started on monsoon tyres and he's moving over to wet tyres. John Alesi, on the other hand, started on wet tyres, so now he is on the correct tyre compound. I believe Michael Schumacher is also on monsoon tyres, so he's going to have to pit relatively shortly as well. From one Ligier involved in the incident being Bernard, another Panis. Engine failure, you can't really tell because of the spray, but he's out of this race. Here we are now on lap 8, and Mahendra has been in and out of the pits for a very early stop. I don't know if he suffered some sort of damage, but he is now 26th, so the Streamline cars are 25th and 26th, last of the running order right now. I'm slowly catching up to Brabham, especially through that last sector. That's where I have the advantage over the other drivers with their setups clearly pointed towards top speed rather than cornering grip. I'm in the middle really. I'm not outright cornering grip, I'm not outright top speed either. That's why I'm losing down the straight. But I am catching a lot in that last sector, which is going to be very important during this race as we try and climb our way back up the order, but it's going to be some sort of task to do that. I have no idea where the the turnover point is for moving on to intermediates or soft tyres. We'll just have to see how the race pans out. Well, this is getting ridiculous now. Lap 10, Kai Mahendra out of the race. Another retirement for Mahendra. It's just not going right for him this season. An early pit stop from monsoons to wets didn't help anything. He's out of this race. We are at about a quarter race distance, looking at Alessandro Zanardi here. Alesi leads, Hill second and Verstappen third because Senna and Schumacher made an early pit stop from monsoon to wet tyres. And Zanardi is actually battling for points here. It's Larini, Hakkinen and Zanardi in that order, battling for the final points position, which is of course 6th place. Well, that'll be incredible to see if Zanardi can pick up some points for Lotus today. Commentator's curse. 3 laps later, lap 15, Zanardi's out of the race. Gearbox problems forces the Lotus driver to retire. Typical really. It's down to Felipe Adams now to carry the Lotus name in this race. And Felipe Adams just outside the top 10. So we're coming into our first pit stop now. It's lap 15, which is my scheduled pit stop lap. I was very unsure whether to carry on with the wets, go on to the intermediates. Definitely not the dry tyres yet. There's still a lot of spray, even on the racing line. I think it's intermediate conditions, so I'm going to put on the intermediate tyres for my stop. As we pull into the box here. It's the first box, and then there's the Williams, and we've just been hit there by Damon Hill. Damon Hill's just come into the pits and hit. We've got the same pit box. I don't know why. That's some sort of problem there, but Damon Hill's going to retire from this race. Yet again, another retirement. He's going to have scored 4 points in the opening half of the season. We're going to rejoin in 23rd place. Maybe we've got a bit of rear end damage now as well, some suspension damage. We've been hit there by the Williams of Damon Hill. And we've just gone another lap down, well, the first lap down, I believe, on some of the Benettons. Both Benettons go through there, but we've rejoined in 23rd place, 6 seconds behind David Brabham. Now, this is what happened to Eddie Irvine. I believe it is gearbox issues. He's pulling into the pits here. It was the end of lap 16, and he is the next retirement in this German Grand Prix. Lap 16, and race leader Alesi is into the pits to put on a set of intermediate tyres. He's going to rejoin still in the lead of this Grand Prix. As long as he doesn't, well, break down. I mean, Ferrari's reliability has been amazing this season. As long as he doesn't break down, he's got a great chance of winning this race. It's incredibly hard to get these intermediate tyres up to temperature. And at the end of lap 16, understeer around the final corner. I go wide onto the AstroTurf, spin the car into the wall. There's some suspension damage there, definitely. We've still got a front wing. All wings are intact, but we definitely have a bit of suspension damage. We're going to lose a lot of time as well, as I think David Brabham is about 15-20 seconds up the road now. Plus Christian Fittipaldi has rejoined ahead of me, 7 seconds, and then a big gap to David Brabham ahead of him. Eric Comas in the Larousse. Well, that could have been an absolute massive crash. Brake failure into the chicane, almost collecting, I believe that is Martini, but no damage done to the Minardi, but definitely to the Larousse. He's out of the race. We have just gone past half race distance. Alesi, Verstappen, Schumacher are the podium places right now. We're currently looking at Heinz-Harald Frentzen in his home Grand Prix, currently up in 7th place. Maybe Frentzen could be an outside shot at scoring some points today. Larini as well, up in 6th place, possibly about to score some points today as well if his Ferrari doesn't manage to retire this time. He's not had a good start to the season, the last 2 races. I'm struggling so much on this track. The conditions, the tyres, it's just not working. There is no grip. Look at that. I just can't get on the power at all. I'm struggling so much. I move over to try and let a lap car pass. I get stuck on the grass. It's so bad. It's lap 25 out of 45. I've still got 20 laps to go. And I'm far, far last behind David Brabham as I'm letting cars go by me. And I get collected there by Adams. Into the wall I go. I don't know. It's just such a disastrous race for me today. I just can't get to grips with the car, and I'm so many laps down now. So far behind David Brabham, who's my closest rival, 21st and last of the running order. It's a disaster. Now, because of the damage I picked up from that incident, I'm going to come into the pits at the end of lap 25 and put on a new set of intermediates. There's a graphical bug there. I'm actually putting on intermediate tyres, not soft tyres. But we're going to go to the end. I'm going to put enough fuel to carry me about 18 laps, which I'm sure I'm not going to finish on the lead lap or the lap behind the leaders, so that's okay. We're going to rejoin last place, but this is difficult. This is such a difficult race. And because of the lack of motivation, because of the situation of the race, there's a time for a momentary lapse of concentration, which is now. I brake a bit too late, lock the tyres, slide off the track into the wall. Heavy suspension damage. I think I may have lost my rear wing in that as well. I'm going to try and get the car moving again, but it seems we're very stuck. I think I'll eventually get the car moving, but the gravel is very thick. And it's quite hard to actually get the Streamline Engineering car out of the gravel, but we're eventually beginning to move. We're going to be so far behind. We're probably going to get lapped here by David Brabham. Heinz-Held Frentzen has retired in front of me, so we're going to actually move up into 19th place at least, as long as we keep going. But we just about managed to get the car moving. I can't turn. I can definitely not turn towards the actual track due to the gravel. But yeah, we're going to lose so much time. At least a minute because of this fiasco in the gravel. And it's the start of lap 27, and Pierluigi Martini is about to retire from this race. He spins off into the wall and loses his rear wing and of course retires from the German Grand Prix. Disaster for Frentzen at his home Grand Prix. It's the commentator's curse again. It's lap 28, well going on to lap 28, and Frentzen retires down the main straight. It looks to be suspension failure that sees him out of his home Grand Prix. We are on board with Rubens Barrichello, not that you can really see much through the incredible spray, but he's into the final sector, but he's going to retire from this race here. I think it's suspension failure, pulls off to the side of the racing line, just off the racing line to retire from this race. As I know some of these cars ahead of me have retired, I'm just trying to keep going so I can finish ahead of them, but it's just so difficult. I think we've definitely lost our rear wing now if we didn't already. But the suspension is completely destroyed as well. There's absolutely no chance we're getting to the end. It's never been so difficult to control a car on this game than this car in these conditions. And there we go, losing the car again, no chance of saving it. Into the wall, once again, not a surprise there. And I've moved ahead of Barrichello, so that means I can retire the car. At least we will finish in 18th place another time for one more spin. Into the wall, I think maybe that was where I lost my rear wing. We've definitely lost it by the end of the race. I'm going to pull over and retire the car. And here we are at 3/4 race distance. A lazy Verstappen Senna is now the top 3. It's changing, ever changing really, throughout this race. And Larini still in the race and now up to 5th. He's up into the top 5. Larini on for some good points today, which will definitely be of help to Ferrari as well. Häkkinen also into the points. His teammate, of course, retired very early on in this race. Salo, I mean, he's in the top 20. Of course, he's retired, but he's up there. It's lap 41, and the Sauber of Andrea De Cesaris has got engine failure. His engine is smoking. It's very hard to see through that spray, but you'll see it once he pulls off the track. He's going to retire from this race, and there you go. You can see the smoke. The two Saubers out of this race now. David Brabham on to lap 42, which I believe is his final lap as he's a couple or 3 laps down. But as he goes round the first corner, he's going to actually pull over and retire. It looks like suspension failure again, and yet another driver out the race. Crucially for Streamline, it's a Simtech, and David Brabham is out. It's the final lap, and John Alesi has just a couple more corners to go before winning this race. The spray is still ridiculous, even though I think it is a dry track now, so that's just a graphical bug. But as he rounds the final corner, for the final time, John Alesi is going to come across the line to win his 2nd race of the season and throw Ferrari into a constructors' battle between Williams and Benetton. And here we have the race results. John Alesi wins his 2nd race of the season to throw him, well, at least Ferrari, into title contention yet again. Ayrton Senna finishes 2nd, which means he extends his lead at the top of the Drivers' Championship. Jos Verstappen finishing ahead of his teammate Michael Schumacher. I believe Schumacher did make an extra 1 or 2 pit stops compared to his teammate. Nicola Larini scores his first points of the season for Ferrari. And Mika Häkkinen finally picks up another point this season. The 2 Tyrrells just outside the points. Philippe Adams, 9th place in the Lotus. His teammate Zanardi could have possibly scored points today, but he retired earlier on. Gianni Morbidelli rounding out the top 10 for footwork. We had 15 finishers. Once again, the Simtech, at least one Simtech finishing the race. Roland Ratzenberger in 15th place. And sadly for Streamline, both Streamline Engineering cars retiring yet again. The Drivers' Championship is looking very one-sided at the moment. Ayrton Senna has broken past the half-century mark. He's on 54 points, and that is far clear of 2nd place Michael Schumacher. But of course, we know reliability is going to play a part. It's going to play a huge part in this championship for the remaining 8 races of the season, and one retirement could completely change the face of the championship. John Alesi is only 1 point off Schumacher now. Verstappen on 24 points, a very, very impressive start to the season and start to his F1 career as well. Gerhard Berger in 5th, of course he's not scored any points. He won't score any more points as he's injured for the remainder of the season. But Nicola Larini up to 14th place after scoring his first points of the year. And this is what the Constructors' Championship looks like. It's so close, it's halfway through the season and it's anybody's guess who's going to win this. I thought Ferrari would start falling off after the past couple races, but even with Larini in the team, Alesi's won another race. Ferrari are only, 7 points off the top? So it's Benetton 63 points, Williams 58 and Ferrari 56. Big gap back to McLaren, who I'm pretty certain are going to finish 4th. I don't think Tyrrell are going to score that many more points, but it would be nice to see a few more of those teams score some points, and maybe a few different teams, not Benetton, Williams or Ferrari, that would make the podium. We've still got 8 races and anything can happen. Now a look at the feeder series. There were 2 races in Formula 3000 since the last race. Standout performances is Lewis Hamilton winning at Pagusa, Zomba Reith winning at Hockenheimring as well, which is very impressive. Josh Cassar winning at Snetterton in British Formula 3. German Formula 3, no standout performances there that I can see. Let's have a look at the Italian Formula 3, where they had a race at Imola. Kronsky finishing 6th and 10th. Alberto Sartori picking up an 8th place in the second race there of the weekend. Japanese Formula 3, there were 2 races. Adam Archer 22nd at the mean circuit, and Twin Ring Motegi finishing 14th. Gael Campos finishing 7th in French Formula 3. British Formula Ford, there was a race at Snetterton. Ramon Stavelink finishing 7th in the first race there of the weekend. And Australian Formula Ford, the final round of the season, Bence Valdinger finishing 10th place. Decently impressive result. And here's the team update after the German Grand Prix. The finances aren't looking as bad. At the current rate, we will finish maybe minus 3,000 by the end of the season, so we're going to need some sort of funding from somewhere. The morale is looking okay for Mika Salo, but Kati Mahendra, as we know, if it's under 50% or under 50 morale, there is absolutely no chance they'll even consider entering contract renegotiation, so there's no point even trying. The next race, the Hungarian Grand Prix, next Friday at the Hungaroring, which is a fairly new circuit on the calendar, opened in 1986, featuring 13 corners. It's sure to be a quite exciting race. Hopefully we can actually finish that one. And that's it guys from today's video. Thank you for watching. If you do celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas to you all for tomorrow. I know it's the Christmas Eve today, so Christmas tomorrow. Hope you have a nice day with your family and friends and whatever you're up to. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video and you haven't already, make sure to subscribe, like the video, comment down below, join the Discord, the link is in the description. And that's all there is to it today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.